What caused BTS's Jin to be rushed to the hospital? Why did HYB keep sending him to the US despite looking so tired? Behind the smile he forced, there was a shocking and heart-rending truth. Is all this for the sake of popularity? Or is there more pressure hidden from the army? What really happened to BTS's Jin? Why did he look so weak, barely able to stand when he arrived at the US International Airport yesterday morning? This question not only resonated on social media, but also pierced the hearts of millions of ARMY, who from the very beginning smelled the strangeness of Jin's forced smile behind the face mask and dark hoodie he was wearing. And unexpected that Jin's trip to the United States, which was supposed to be a joyful moment in the framework of promoting his latest album and attending The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, actually turned into an emotional drama that drained tears. It all happened so fast, from the slow steps caught on camera, his blank stare in the arrivals hall, to the shocking news. Jin was rushed to the hospital shortly after he left the airport. Did Jin force himself? Or did someone force it? In the midst of fame, often painful reality is clouded by spotlights and a busy schedule. Since his return from military service, Jin has barely had time to rest. He immediately plunged into various activities, ranging from performance rehearsals, album recordings, photo shoots, to various public events in South Korea. But is he really ready? Or was there an insistence on the part of the agency that forced him to move on even as his body began to give up? The army is not just fans. They are observers, protectors, even the most sensitive radars that can catch the slightest changes from their idols. Since the past few weeks, many fans have begun to highlight the changes in Jin's face. Not only was it thinner and paler, but also the blank expression that occasionally appeared when he thought there was no camera. Isn't that enough of a warning? Why didn't HYB stop this trip? This is the question that is now at the center of the anger of fans on various platforms. Why? In the midst of clearly declining conditions, Jin was sent to the US anyway. Does HYB prefer international exposure to their own artists' health conditions? Even some fans had gathered hashtags #LetJinRest and #ProtectJinHealth as a form of protest against Jin's too busy schedule. However, the hashtag just flew by, almost without an official response from the agency. Is it because they know something they don't want to share with the public? Or because they closed their eyes for the sake of greater interests? A journey full of questions. Jin's trip to America was never announced on a large scale, as usual. There were no grandiose announcements, no media invited to the airport, and no enthusiastic posts on BTS or HYB's official accounts. It all felt too quiet, too suspicious. Is this a sudden plan? Or was it deliberately hidden for darker reasons? Upon arrival in the US, Jin appears to be trying to cover up his condition. But the camera never lies. His stride was heavy, his shoulders slumped, and his hands continued to grip the water bottle tightly, as if it were the only thing keeping him standing. Some of the staff looked panicked when Jin almost fell while about to board the car. And from there, everything changed. A few hours after arrival, the first reports of an army man working in a local hospital appeared in the online community. He did not name names, but mentioned that a famous Korean artist was rushed in a state of severe exhaustion, dehydration, and unstable blood pressure. A few hours later, various sources began to confirm it was Jin. What made Jin survive all this time? As the oldest member of BTS, Jin has always been known as a protective, funny, and always positive figure. But did we ever ask who was protecting her? Who gave him strength when he was fragile? In an old interview, Jin once said, "I don't want fans to worry. If I look tired, they get sad. So I'll keep smiling." Those words are now coming back to haunt. Did he smile just to reassure others, not himself? Now, we are faced with a harsh reality. The smile has collapsed. And when he finally can't stand up for himself, the question is no longer when is Jin's comeback, but rather, are we already demanding too much from him? Jimmy Fallon show or not? Scheduled to appear on The Tonight Show, Jin is now in an uncertain condition. Some sources mention that the show's production team is still waiting for confirmation from Jin's side, while HYB is reportedly considering the possibility of canceling her attendance abruptly. But the bigger concern is, why did this event remain a priority in the first place? Did HYB know Jin wasn't in good condition but still chose to send it because the promotional value was too big to miss? These questions cannot be ignored, especially when the life and health of an artist is at stake. As the rest of the world awaits his performance, Jin lies in a cold hospital room, far from home, far from the army, and perhaps far from the power that usually accompanies him. Army reaction. Cries and anger as soon as the news of Jin's escape to the hospital spread. Social media exploded. Twitter, Weverse, and Instagram were inundated with "Get well soon, Genie," but they were also accompanied by an overwhelming wave of anger at HYB. "Are you blind?" wrote a fan. "We told you Jin was exhausted, but you still forced him to perform. He's a human, not a machine. You think she can keep smiling even when she's crying?" Write another. Not a few also uploaded pieces of Jin's last video before entering the hospital, showing how his body was a little limp and his eyes looked empty. No words needed. Everything was clear in the look in his eyes that began to lose light. This the cusp. In the fast-paced and demanding world of entertainment, idols are often worshipped as flawless perfection. But this Jin incident again made everyone realize that they were also human. They can also fall. They can also get tired. And they also need time to heal. But will the industry learn? Or will this be just one piece of news that will eventually be forgotten when another stage shines again? BTS's Jin is now a symbol of many things: sincerity, dedication, and voiceless strength. But if his inner voice is never heard, then all that power will only turn into a wound that continues to grow until it finally defeats itself. The truth that has not yet been revealed: is it true that Jin is just exhausted? Or is there a mental pressure that has been hidden all this time? Some fans began to speculate that the trip to the US was not just for promotion, but also to seek special treatment that could not be done in Korea. Is that so? Meanwhile, another rumor emerged that Jin had experienced a panic attack before boarding, but was still forced to continue traveling because the event was scheduled. As of now, HYB has not released an official statement, saying only that Jin is recovering and we ask for the understanding of all parties. But is that enough? Is a formal sentence able to calm the millions of hearts that are now plagued by anxiety and anger? We're all waiting. Waiting for clarity. Waiting for recovery. And maybe waiting for an answer that will never come. Yet one thing is certain. When a star falls, the world should not just stare, but act. Before it's too late, a few days before his departure for the US, Jin was actually seen several times in the HYB building. Some soldiers who were lucky to see him mentioned that he came early in the morning and came home almost midnight. "Like people who are being chased by time," said one of them. But time for what? Is this because his solo album is in the process of finishing? Or is it because there was a sudden revision from the international production side that demanded Jin to keep re-recording certain parts? The genie looks different. The spirit was still there, but his body was no longer supportive. Some reports say that Jin experienced drastic weight loss in a short time. Even the stylist, who usually handles her wardrobe, had asked for clothes of a smaller size than usual. The question, is the HYB health team aware of this? Or do they choose silence because of the pressure of professionalism? Surprisingly, before his flight to the US, Jin was known to visit a personal doctor. But his medical records were never disclosed. It was precisely after that he immediately flew away, as if he had never been given time to recover. Jimmy Fallon's show invitation: golden opportunity or international pressure? The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon is not just a talk show. This is a stage watched by millions of people from all over the world, and performing there means breaking into the global market. But is all this worth it if lives are at stake? Why did HYB approve of this performance when they knew Jin had just returned from military service and was not yet fully stable physically or emotionally? Even when Jin tries to give his best performance at local events, Many fans have noticed he often takes a deep breath in between sentences, like enduring a deep sense of fatigue. Now that the news that Jin was unconscious for several minutes in the waiting room of a US airport is circulating, many are asking, has Jin actually tried to give a signal not to be sent abroad? And if so, why isn't anyone listening? They know, but still let. Army's sharp accusations to hype Army's anger reached its peak not only because Jin was rushed to the hospital, because of a feeling of betrayal. Thousands of comments flooded HYB's official Weverse and Twitter accounts. You know he needs a rest, but you sent him for a TV show? It's not love, it's exploitation, wrote one of the accounts. Many began comparing Jin to other idols who were given time to rest, even absent from schedules.